Welcome, friends, to this session on understanding your customer in the digital age. I am Sanjay Bhattacharji, and today I am going to take you through the first session, which is about finding who your customers are. So, I will share some tips and tools about understanding your customers better, and hopefully, you can use them to benefit in your work or business. Before you start a new business or look at improving your own business, it is important to spend time in understanding your customers. According to Bloomberg, 8 out of 10 entrepreneurs who start businesses fail within the first 18 months. When many people start to work on a new product or a new business, they go back to the drawing board in the comfort of their offices and they forget to do the most important exercise, which is to get more information about customers. Let's look at some such well known cases from the past. Many of you would be knowing about Kodak cameras. It was one of the largest manufacturers of cameras in the world, but today it is nowhere to be seen. Kodak did not fail because it missed the digital age. It actually invented the first digital camera in 1975, but Kodak failed to adapt to new consumer attitudes. Sony and Canon created a new marketplace for digital cameras and became dominant. There was a time when Nokia ruled, Samsung struggled, and Apple was nowhere in the phone market. Nokia became the world's largest cell phone maker in 1998. In 2007, Apple introduced its iPhone. With its full touchscreen and app based operating system, the iPhone changed the very definition of what a smartphone should be. Yet, Nokia failed to respond to the new consumer demand that came for smartphones. Nirma is a leading detergent manufacturer in India. In the 1980s, Nirma went on to become the largest detergent manufacturer, capturing a larger market share than the existing multinationals. Nirma understood the needs of customers very well, which were to get a good quality product and get value for money. Very few people or organizations can claim to know their customers completely. It is not safe to assume that we know everything about our customers or audience without deep delving. The last case that I would like to highlight is the American elections. The elections in the US taught us that you have to be very careful about how you read into the minds of people. Many experts seem to have gone completely wrong in their predictions about the outcome of the elections. Hence, it is important to collect the right data about customers before forming any opinion about them. So, what is it that you need to know about customers? Steve Jobs once famously said that get closer than ever to your customers. So close that you tell them what they need well before they realize it themselves. You should get as much information about your customers as is possible so that in an ideal situation you can predict their next requirement, then the next time they purchase or the quantum of purchase. Companies such as Amazon and Tesco have used this kind of customer understanding to create predictive NBOs or next best offers. So when you go to purchase something online, you get offers which say people who bought this also bought that. Now that's what an NBO is. Well, that is something which will require machine learning and similar technology, but the goal should be to learn as much as possible. So now let's look at how you should approach to understand your customers. There are three parts to understanding your customers. Firstly, you should know who is your customer. Secondly, the intent of your customer. And thirdly, how the customer perceives you. In this session, I will share some tips and tools on the first topic, which is finding who your customer is. So when you set out to find who your customer is, you collect data about the age of the customer, gender, whether male or female, the location or address of the customer, along with the PIN code. The education level in terms of whether the customer is literate or illiterate, whether literate with formal schooling or with schooling up to 4 years or between 5 to 9 years, high school pass, whether the person has attended some college or whether graduate or a postgraduate. A rather unlikely inclusion is consumer durables. Yes, consumer durables along with education, is included in the new socio-economic classification of Indian consumers by the Market Research Society of India. For example, a person belonging to SEC A1 is a person who is a postgraduate and owns 9 or more consumer durables. Marital status, whether married, single, divorced, or widowed. Income is a tricky data point which most customers don't want to share, and hence it's useful to ask for income range in terms of rupees X to rupees Y, which people are more comfortable sharing. The kind of occupation the customer has, whether self employed or in service, in the private sector or with the government, etc. While one can go on collecting endless number of data points about customers, it is advisable to try and figure out the ones most relevant to your needs. The renowned author Harvey Mackay has released a comprehensive list of 66 data points required in a customer profile, which he calls Mackay 66. While gathering so much of information for mass markets may be difficult, as the number of customers run into millions in a country like India, for business to business customers or where limited number of customer relationships are in play, Mackay 66 can be very useful. To quickly look at the areas that he recommends, you have family information about spouse and children, their education and interests, anniversary, hobbies, etc. You need to collect business background information, including previous employment details, interesting details such as status symbols in office, professional or trade organizations, the kind of relationships the customer has with your organization, connections, etc. Special interests such as club or professional associations, political or religious inclinations that your clients have, matters that the customer is sensitive towards, etc. Lastly, lifestyle factors such as medical history, habits if any, favorite places for lunch, including favorite food items, kind of car, and conversational interests, etc. Now that's quite a lot of information about customers. Let me share some tools that you can use to collect and preserve customer data. The first tool that you can use to collect data about customers is typeform.com. It is used to collect any kind of data from any number of customers. You can create information fields by shifting the icons to the right and then filling the required questions. You can have multiple choice answers or picture choice or even rating options. It's an easy to use tool which is available in free and paid versions. You need to have the email ID of customers to send them the forms to fill. Once the customers respond, their answers are found in the response section. You can also send reminders to those who have not responded. The professional version, which is the paid one, is used to send the forms to a large number of customers, and they come with added features such as analytics, thank you page, website redirect, payment field, etc. A similar tool that you can use is Google Forms. You can create your own questionnaire or form and send it to the customers. The responses are recorded in Google Docs, which is in the form of an Excel sheet, and you can preserve your data. So once you have this data about customers, you need to analyze it. Depending upon the quantum of data that you collect, you can use basic mathematics or formulae in Excel to analyze the data. More sophisticated analytics is done using softwares such as PHstat or analytical tools which are inbuilt in CRM softwares. Depending upon how far you can stretch your analysis, there are a number of useful insights that you can get about who your customers are. Some of them are: who are your best customers? Remember, most businesses find that 80% of their revenues come from 15 to 20% of their customers. It would be great if you could know how much a customer would spend on your product. Who are your actual customers? Many people find that the customer's customer is often the end user of their product or service. How your customers find you. You can use Google Analytics, which is a free tool, to understand how your customers find you and also to get an estimate of the demographics of your customers, such as age, gender, etc. Last but not the least, time to purchase. The amount of time between finding about your product or service and actually buying it is important, as this will determine your production schedule or service delivery period or even your cash flows. To sum up, if you are able to collect relevant data about your customers and analyze them wisely, you will be able to know who your customer is. In the next session on understanding customers, we will look at how to analyze the intent of customers, how they make buying decisions, and tools to collect data on consumer interests, consumer trends, sentiments, behavior, etc. Thanks for watching.